Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to NOLA Theater Talk. My name is Alan Smason. Welcome. It's been a while that we've been on the air, as it were. We broadcast to the NOLA Theater Folk Facebook group, the theatercriticism.com Facebook page. I should mention that that's not theatercriticism.com actually, but the Facebook page, and also the YouTube channel. So don't go to theatercriticism.com. Go to the Facebook page on for Theater Criticism. You'll be fine. It's been a while since we've been on. It's very difficult these days to be able to get, how shall I put it, people who are rehearsing, who are getting ready to go on the boards or have just finished doing some things. And because of the rehearsal schedule, it's difficult to get people on Mondays when it's a dark night for theater. Mostly rehearsals are not necessarily dark. So I've been finding it more and more increasingly difficult to be able to get people to come and take part in these shows. But I'm delighted to report that tonight is an exception. And we've got a new play that's going to be unveiled. I say a new play, at least new in this area. It's not a world premiere, but it would be, I guess, a regional premiere. And we'll find out about it. First of all, we have the playwright, Justin Maxwell, who, of course, most people know works out at UNO. And has had quite a number of successes in his career. And we would also say that he's a dedicated theater aficionado, interested in making sure that theater gets promulgated. And we welcome you tonight because it's very important that, when we get a chance to talk to a playwright before their work gets unveiled, that they get a chance to talk about it. And that's what we're going to offer you tonight. We also have both the director and the star of this this piece, which you're calling Exhausted Paint. We'll get into that in a second. But that's Drew Stroud on the right for our audience, and Carly Stroud, who is his director and also occasionally acts as his other half. And I guess that we'll get into that whole discussion in just a little bit. Welcome. We want to thank everybody who's here. We're going to try to go as long as we can tonight because we've not been on for so long and there's a lot to discuss. And again, I'm going to start the discussion by mentioning the fact that just this week, this past Friday, we were able to announce for the very first time our Crescent City Theater Awards nominations that we have. And for those of you who don't know, the Crescent City Theater Awards are going to be coming on November the 17th. That's a Monday night. And we released, I believe, 12 competitive awards, including Best Featured Actor, Best Featured Actress in a play and a musical, and Best Featured Actor and Best Featured Actress in a play and a musical, and Best Director play, Best Director musical, Best play and best musical, etc. And we also, of course, are going to be honoring Ricky Graham as our first Lifetime Achievement Award winner. And we also plan on giving out an award to the Theater Educator of the Year award that's going to be starting up. So we are accepting nominations. Anybody out there is accepting nominations now for anybody who wants to be nominated. If you have somebody who's working on an elementary school, middle school, high school, or even university level and works as a theater educator in some capacity, and you want to recommend them, we would love to take that now. Anybody who is considered for this time out for the 2024 awards, that'll be in November, we want to announce that we're going to keep those nomination forms available because our next award show, the award show is going to move permanently to April. The idea is it always was going to be geared to being a springtime show to honor the previous year. And we don't want to make it all the way to the end of the next year to make people wait. So we will have the permanent move in April, and then we won't be back again until April of 2027. So hopefully that makes sense to everybody. Before we get started, in other ways, I'm going to bring out my drink tonight because I like to get fancy every now and then. This is a Campari gin and sweet vermouth, better known as a Negroni. But instead of some orange peel, which you usually put in. I put a little Luxardo cherry in it, make it a little sweeter. Good. So I don't know what y'all brought in. Since you're in rehearsal a lot of time, your director won't let you, Drew, drink anything alcoholic. So I'm not quite sure what she lets you bring to the table today. But you might be able to get some special acceptance. We don't know. What did you bring?
I mean, Van Gogh, he was a little bit of a drinker, so I'm just getting into character a bit.
Method acting.
This is a stout. It's a chocolate vanilla cream stout.
I don't know anybody's brought a stout in a long time. That's fantastic.
I am enjoying a darker beer.
It's good for what ails you, eh?
Yes, an after dinner dessert. So,
all right. And Carly?
I brought in a big old glass of wine.
Very good. Okay, Justin, we've raised the level now, so you're gonna have to tell us what you brought in.
I brought in a giant jug of water because I'm just back from the gym.
Okay. So, in the honor of Exhausted Paint, I'm wearing a tie. Which, okay, Toulouse-Lautrec. I call this shrinking paint. Okay. So let's get going. First off, Exhausted Paint is all about the life of probably the most famous painter of his time, who was probably the least known painter of his time, but who in the intervening decades has become probably the most coveted painter due to the fact that he suffered from mental illness, due to the fact that he had such wonderful use of colors and light and what have you. And then we're talking about Vincent van Gogh, very famously portrayed in the song by Don McLean, Vincent, right? So Justin, before we go into the acting part of this, I'd like to know the process by which you decided to write about Vincent van Gogh, or as they say in the Netherlands, Vincent van Gogh. So what brought you to consider him as a subject?
A couple things. Initially, it started with an actor in Minneapolis who really wanted a solo show about Van Gogh and didn't like the Van Gogh plays that were available at the time. And he tried to talk me into writing one. And I was a little hesitant, but he asked me to read Van Gogh's letters. And I love a book. So I read Van Gogh's letters. And they are amazing. They are really breathtakingly good. And that got me inspired.
So when you say his letters, let's back up just a little bit. These letters were written to his brother or to the people who were doing, I mean, because as I understand it, he sold one only painting in his lifetime. And I think he maybe sold it to his brother or something like that. Wasn't it?
Yeah.
That it never really went to the point. Isn't that right?
Something like that. That's the anecdote, that he only sold one. It's a little unclear. He didn't sell many. The letters are a collection of all his surviving letters, and Van Gogh in the play makes a couple jokes about the collection. Also makes fun of Drew and I and a few other people. But the letters are predominantly his letters to his brother Theo. There are a few scattered letters to other people, but for the most part, it's him and his brother. And in them, I saw a man who was obsessed with craft and who thought carefully and intensely about the craft of what he was doing. And he was deeply in control of his craft. He was very intensely intentional in his artwork. You know, if you ever ask a poet why they put a comma somewhere, usually they can tell you. And Van Gogh was the same way. He talked about color in intense detail. He talked about assembling bits of paint on a palette knife. And there's about 1,000 letters or so from him where he's talking obsessively about all this work. And so he's incredibly in control over his paintings, but his life and his mental health and his economic status, he has no control over. And so the play really comes out of those contrasting things where he wants to be in control of his life and can only be in control of his art. And that gave me sort of the narrative tension. So it's a play about control.
And before I bring the director and your actor into the discussion, which I'm sure they're going to have a lot of interesting things to say about it, you made this particular work sort of different than a linear kind of a thing where somebody goes into a room and something happens, etc. These things sort of take place in almost a different outer dimension, if it were, and not necessarily confined to time and space as we normally would think of it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So tell me, well, how that came about. What was your purpose in doing that?
Well, it came out. It directly came out of it being a play about control. If it's a play about control and the lack of control, that has to get built into the work's very structure. And so that's what I did. The first scene of the show is set, and the last scene of the show is set. But all the other scenes of the play are connected to different objects, which are all on this giant wheel, which Van Gogh spins. And every time it stops, a different object is in the sort of go spot. And so the actor playing Van Gogh, Drew, takes that object and does the scene tied to it. So we don't know which scenes happen in which order.
So in other words, what you're saying is that every night the play is completely different than what it was the night before, the day before, what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it's different order. Okay.
Yes.
So
I think
does it always have the same amount of material, or is there some material left, as it were, on the cutting room floor every night?
usually it's the same amount of material. When we did it in Edinburgh to fit the runtime, we pulled out a couple scenes and switched them off. So of the usual number, there were a few less, but you could still see them all if you came twice and got a little lucky.
Good way to get somebody to come back, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So let me find out a little bit. You first. When did you premiere this work? World premiere at Edinburgh, or was it somewhere else?
The first time it premiered was the Chicago Fringe in like 2010, 2011.
Oh, so it's got some length on it. It's been around
a little bit. And it went up for like a 3-night run in LA. And then Drew first encountered the work through some study at UNO and just took off with it, because in some ways I built it so that one actor can really show off their chops, and Drew had the good sense to use it to show off, because he's a really versatile actor with a lot of range, and the Van Gogh character pops from comedic to heartbroken to passionate to smart to batshit crazy in the space of a couple of spins.
All right, Drew, let's hear from you. What drew you to this work, if you'll pardon the pun?
Yeah, no. So I think so I'm very heavy in improv theater and acting. We met doing improv together. We got engaged on an improv stage. We got married on that stage. So improv is not just central to myself as an artist, but also central to my life. So I really, really love the idea of a unique show every night. So when I read the script for the first time, I fell in love with it immediately. I'm also a bit of a numbers nerd, so there's the 14 scenes that happen every night. And when you do the math, that means there's 87 billion different possibilities that the show can spin out, which means statistically I will never do the same show twice, ever. And that's just exciting because it gives me a different stage to perform on every night, and it lets me go on a new journey with Vincent every night, which just keeps it fresh, but also lets me make these new discoveries. And acting is all about discovery and being present and being in the moment, which the show is really it's let me do that. I think it's also just I got it in my MFA program at a time where I felt a little bit of self-doubt, as we all do when we do theater. So it came at the right time where it was really that question of what is the point of creating art and always reaching and searching for something. So I fell in love with it quickly, and I kept wanting to do it more and more, and Justin kept, let's do it. And so that I think I probably performed the show like 50 or 60 times at this point. So it's been a really cool journey.
So Drew, you came to the work first. When did Carly get involved?
The tour.
Yeah,
Sunflower tour.
the Sunflowers tour, which was what, 2022? 23.
Yeah, 23.
2023. It was your senior year or
Well,
third year of his MFA. Drew took an independent study and built a tour for this show, and we toured it to a couple of different fringe festivals across
the Midwest
and also Colorado.
Yeah. So
Any part of Colorado in particular, or
Denver. We went to.
I got you. Okay. Now, occasionally, every now and then, somebody will drop out. The internet or whatever will stop, working, and so they're having a little trouble with their internet freezing up. But that's okay. We'll just continue. They'll be back.
Yeah.
And when they may have dropped off completely, but they'll come back. Let's just continue. Again, I asked him. He said 2022 was when they kind of got involved. So in between the time that you premiered this, Justin, in 2010, and the time that Drew became involved about 12 years later, what did you do with this work? Was it shown anywhere else, or
not? Not really. It kind of just sat. It had gotten some attention initially, but then nobody really picked it up. I had commissions to work on other things, and sort of writing new stuff and chasing old stuff was just a little more than I could do. So it lived on NPX for a long time. It got published in a very short-lived press called Alligator Pear that did a collection of mine, did an Andy Vaught play, and did something that AJ Allegra put together, and then went out of business.
Okay.
So it got published, and has just not gotten a lot of love until now, in one of those, quirky ways of scripts.
Yeah. Well, they're back. I told you they would be. Internet sometimes goes out, and I may go out, but we'll be back. I mean, it's no problem. Justin was describing a little bit about what happened to the play, but between the time that he premiered and the time Drew you got involved, and basically what he had said was kind of nothing. It was just sort of laying around, just waiting for you all to discover it. Drew, I know that you and I worked together earlier on, what was it, Interstate 81? Was that the play? I'm trying to remember what it was that we did with Amy. Is that possible?
It was about the reporter.
Okay, then no, that was okay. So you were on the Mr. Simpson's Pride.
Yes.
That was the original by Stephen. I'm trying to remember his last name, but he's noted as a not so much a writer of plays, etc., but he's noted as a novelist or short story writer.
Right. Yeah.
And I was very pleased during the pandemic he premiered that work. And yeah, that's right. You played the reporter. I was trying to remember what work it was. Not to say that Amy Rubin, she's premiered that work as well now. It's difficult. Justin, I got to say, the life of a playwright must be somewhat full of like a roller coaster, ups and downs. You've got your highs and your lows, and it just seems like you're either on the top
on the same day.
But in any event, I'm sorry that the work hasn't had more resonance between the time, but I'm glad it's coming out here. And again, you can see up in the upper right-hand corner there, Fat Squirrel is going to be producing this. Was it Carly who approached the principals at Fat Squirrel, Andrea, and her company, or was it you, or who got them interested in this?
It was a mixture tag team.
Yeah.
Because we've been, I worked with Andrea on a couple of projects. I did Star-Crossed with her a couple years ago and Broken Codes with her. And so I've just always had that, we've been connected with each other. And I've always told Justin I wanted to do a fuller production of this, because we've done very fringe shows of this.
Yeah.
So you can put it in the back of a Toyota Corolla and drive to Denver.
But yeah, before we dropped, we forgot to mention we drove
all the way
to Denver.
Or we can pack in a ski bag like we did for Edinburgh. So I told Justin I really wanted to do a fuller production. I just didn't know in what capacity. And so I had reached out to Andrea just to start those conversations, and she was looking for some shows for her season. And it kind of was kismet when I reached out. She was just at the point when she was starting to build her season.
Yeah,
so,
and again, I know that last season she had done the Trojan Women, but she had lost her father in the process of that season, and a lot of the productions that would have maybe normally gone on just didn't happen, and so we of course are sorry for her loss, etc. But we're glad that she's back in a meaningful way, and this may be something of a departure for her to do this kind of show. I don't know. I mean, it's a one-man show. I mean, she usually does a lot more characters, etc. So I guess this is credit due to the playwright as well as the artist and the director. So that's great. I'm going to show some photos, if I can, of some of the pieces, and you're going to have to tell me a little bit about who's involved here. I know it's all Drew for the most part, but I mean, the main thing is to tell me a little bit, if you can tell me who the people are that are what part of this what plays are involved. So the first one here, this is him spinning the wheel. I take it, is that the wheel on the left?
Yep, that's the wheel on the left. I don't want to give too much away because this is a scene that will play every night, just who knows what order. Right. This was taken at Denver at the Fringe, and was one of the first times that we were able to play with lighting, just due to the space that we were in. So it was amazing to see the contrasting colors and shadows and everything. So it was a very inspirational time. And an inspirational scene as well.
What is that in his hand? Or can you say what it is?
So in his right hand is the Bible, and in his left hand is a salt shaker full of salt and a potato. Yep. Oh yeah, teeny tiny golden potato. Gold. He's got both of them holding in his hand. Yeah.
Of course he would.
Yes.
There's a very famous Van Gogh painting called The Potato Eaters. That's all I'll say about that.
Yeah.
You have to come to show the reference.
Well, there's a very famous painting called The Absinthe Drinkers too, but you weren't drinking absinthe, were you?
Who's to say? Maybe.
Yeah. So is that a particular photo that you recall when it was taken, or what it connotes?
This one also, I don't recall the scene. Probably is a scene called Crow. This was also taken in Denver. Again, that uplighting had give us such an opportunity to discover even more than had already been discovered in the year that he'd been doing it. So
I think this is also like this particular, the Denver Fringe kind of showed us, you play with lights all the time, obviously, as a theater creator, and we did light the UNO production really well. But I think when we did this at Denver, it kind of really inspired us. Like, what if we really played with shadows and textures and light, and that just started the unraveling the thread to see what else we could do for the show.
Yeah.
And we had this one now. Again, looks like you've got a little paint on your frock there.
Yeah.
There's so in other productions I would paint on stage. I had a canvas, and it wasn't anything good. I do have the painting hanging in my office. It looks a little psychotic if you walk into my office and you just see these random paint splotches on a wall. But it was really cool as a way to, give these interludes between the scenes of me trying to catch myself up as Van Gogh as I'm trying to navigate all these different emotions and turmoil that I go through.
So Justin did the research on Van Gogh with the letters, etc. How did you research his character? What did you read or what did you watch in order to kind of immerse yourself in the character?
Yeah, I read his letters. I won't say I read all of them. I've read a good chunk of them. I got in the habit of reading his letters every day before a performance. I would read a couple of them. There's a musical called Starry, which is a group. They were based in, I think, LA. They did a musical called Starry that's all about his relationship with Van Gogh. Van Gogh's relationship with Theo. I listened to that all the time to really get into my head. And I just, really looked at his paintings and just tried to I don't not imagine myself painting them, but just taking the beauty of it all. I did do the exhibit.
We did the immersive when it was here.
And
oh yeah, that's right. They did do that, didn't they?
And I think I've joked to Justin that I think there's a scene that could be written about that, because I think he would hate it a lot, Van Gogh, just because I think he did not want his work to be capitalistic. I mean, he jokes about that in the show. And I won't go on a huge rant about it, because I did cry a lot during the reading all the history of Van Gogh while I was in there. But yeah, and then I wanted to read his letters, but also it's a modern retelling of Van Gogh. So it's not me just recreating Van Gogh, it's me recreating the image of Van Gogh through Drew's mind and what that really looks like. Almost like Drew is overtaken by the spirit of Van Gogh, but doesn't fully grasp what is going on with it. And that's, I mean, from your standpoint, you did some digging as well.
Yeah.
What did you do, Carly?
I've seen the show 50 plus times. No, I have done a lot of just like research on Van Gogh's mental state, who he was outside of the painter. And there's not a ton available. It's all theories. And I think that, Van Gogh was this. And so it's left a lot up to interpretation, which is, I think Van Gogh would hate it too, but it's nice as artists to have a little bit of leeway and freedom.
Can we all agree that Van Gogh would probably have hated Lust for Life with Kirk Douglas too, right?
Yeah.
Right. But he's such a recluse and such an enigmatic figure. I mean, the whole idea about cutting your ear off, etc., why he did that. Justin, I'm sure you must have read as to why and have an explanation for that.
He never really says why. There's a whole scene about it in the play. The thing that got me was that while he never says why, after he cuts it off, he puts it in a box and he gives it to his favorite prostitute, who is just like super chill about the whole thing and calls a hospital.
Yeah. It makes about as much sense as some of the other things that he did. So yeah.
I think what's kind of cool, like to Carly's point, is I don't think the show ever really nails down. I mean, it doesn't really nail down who he was, and I think you get that through this montage of different scenes of these different emotions and kind of trying to explore the logic of what he's thinking, but also seeing him lose himself in his art, but then also seeing him get so passionate about religion and success, and just really it allows the audience to leave at the end. I don't want to say with their own interpretation of why he did what he did, but giving them a different feel of maybe the potential bipolarness that he experienced, as you as the audience experience this jolted emotion scene between scenes.
Yeah.
These may be also from the Denver production.
Yeah.
So there's an easel, and obviously you're painting something. I'm not quite sure what scene that is, but obviously immersed in the art. And
also Denver.
Yeah.
Okay, and the writing behind there, was that already there? Or is that just happened to be where you were presenting it?
It was really cool. We did the show. The space was an art gallery where we put it on. So normally they would have had pieces up, of course, so they took those down for the show, but the text behind stayed. So it was neat to be in that world and then double down into Van Gogh's world.
I think in that last picture, you're kind of seeing also that the show is direct addressed to the audience. So it's not like you're not seeing
There's no fourth wall.
There's no fourth wall. I mean, I come at the audience pretty quickly in the first couple of lines, but I think it's not just like I'm not just giving you some ye olde tale about Van Gogh. It's a very modern version retelling of who Van Gogh was.
Yeah.
And there's a spinning wheel again.
Yep.
And there's his hat. Now, I hadn't seen that hat before. is there a particular reason you don the hat at that point, or in the show, or
This is the start of the show. So I came out in this particular this version of it. We talked about this whole show being a clock.
That's right.
Where like at the end of the show, we're resetting for the next show that will perform tomorrow.
Stuck on a loop.
The hat, from an actor standpoint, was terrible to work with. It would get in my face all the time. It would like fall off, and like so I didn't don it for very much in the show.
Yeah,
maybe a scene or two, and they would come off, only to return to my head later.
Did it fit well, or did you have to maybe tuck your ear in a little bit?
That's what the bandage was.
Yeah.
There are some other photos Justin supplied as well, and I wanted to pass those on as well. So these are more or less, I guess, from your phone, because a lot of them are up and down, not really horizontal, but like this one. Is that a bicycle wheel or something?
Yeah, that's either New York or Edinburgh. I can't tell from the curtain. Probably Edinburgh. Yeah. We built a completely different setup for the wheel there, and used an actual bicycle wheel because it's so much easier to use a pre-made part.
I got you. And again, when you perform at Edinburgh, please tell me, what kind of space was it? Was it a 4 walls, or was it a tent? Where did you perform?
Our performance space at Edinburgh was in fact called The Space.
Yeah.
So it was a small raised stage. There.
Good picture of it. Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. You can see it's 4 by 12, about 18 inches high.
How many people did you perform in front of?
It could sit 49.
Okay, so small crowd.
Small crowd, yeah. They
did how many shows at Edinburgh?
We did 18 shows in Edinburgh, yeah.
Oh, that's a lot. Yeah. And did you dial in the shows every day, like 3 a day or 2 a day?
I was there for essentially the whole month of August. I had Wednesdays and Sundays off. I would do the show once a day at 3:00.
So really only about 50 people per show.
Mm-hmm.
And you did 18, so we're talking about not as many people as you might have in a big theater a couple of times being seen, basically, because you're showing to a lot of a lot less people than you would probably if you did it under a big show.
Yeah, when this show lends itself to that intimate. If you get too big, and then you really, as an actor, you can't connect to everyone, because I'm really trying to talk to every single audience member.
Now, what's the significance? That's a chair or something, or?
Yeah, it's a wicker chair. This is a scene called Cardboard Tube. So each of the objects on the wheel ties to a different scene, so that the poor actor has some mnemonic of what's happening next. And so the object sort of gets incorporated into the scene. And this one's called Cardboard Tube, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that dealing with the light?
Yeah.
How many artists does it take to change a light bulb?
One. We had them reset the friggin' spotlight every time in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
But you can see this wheel is really different from the previous one. It's on a horizontal, or I'm sorry, it's on a vertical post with a horizontal wheel, and it gives a very different effect.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. I mean, the name Exhausted Paint, did that just sort of pop into your mind, or was it something came to you after reading the letters, or how did that work?
It came from the letters. He talks about late in his life, he talks a lot about being exhausted, and he talks without making any correlation to his own exhaustion. He talks about the sort of phenomena of paint drying and how it sort of exhausts its liquid qualities to become a much more static thing. So it's both kind of giving us his late stage mental and emotional state, but also alluding pretty tightly to some stuff he talks about in his letters.
And of course, he did a lot of this work in France, correct? That's where he went there for the light as an artist, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think one of the other pictures you've got here really shows a little bit more of the light. There you go. The sunflowers.
Mm-hmm. It was a fun day. We in Edinburgh, we went to a sunflower field about 30 miles outside of the city. It was in August. They had a really, really bad windstorm. That just, it was terrible for the city. I mean, like, we're obviously used to terrible winds here, so it felt like a Tuesday for me. But it was very, very windy. And so this is a couple days after that. We went out to this sunflower field, and like every take we'd have to stop and hold because all the flowers were flying backwards. My hair was flying all over the place. We were all windburned. It was like 3 hours in the field taking these shots. I think you can't really see in this picture, but in a couple of the other pictures we took in the field, you can see hands because our stage manager Veronica was holding up sunflowers. The director Penny was holding up sunflowers to get this fuller field, but that was a rough day. But the pictures turned out great, so I guess it was worth it.
Well, it looks like fun. We've only got a couple more pictures that I'll throw out as well. I'm not quite sure what this is reference to. This looks like your famous hat back again.
Yeah, this is the start of the show. I'm talking about how my work is very ordered, very consciously created. So again, setting up the first scene and the last scene of the show are always the same, an introduction and a conclusion. And so the very first scene I set up, and I bring the audience in immediately to the world of what they're about to see. And this is me kind of getting to the point of the first monologue.
And the show runs what, about 75 minutes or so?
We did 55 in Edinburgh, but it will probably be 75 here.
Yeah.
So you've expanded it. You've done more letters. You've done more research?
No, it's just we had to cut some of the scenes to make it into Edinburgh's time frame.
They said it has to be
So
less
this
than
is
10
this
hours.
is the whole thing. Yeah.
I got you. Okay.
So essentially, we made Edinburgh shorter, and this is the full on.
Was it always this long in terms of, or was it something that started as smaller and you added to it from 2012? Always this long?
It was always this long. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but it's built to be flexible. It's in some ways it's a very pragmatic play, which is also, I guess, taking after Van Gogh, who's weirdly pragmatic. But it's really built to be stuffed in a car and driven around. It's really it's easy to change its length. It's I suppose if you choose the things you pull off the wheel, you could make it a very serious drama or a pretty quirky dark comedy. With everything in it, it's a nice mixture of both because I wanted it to shift a lot because Van Gogh is shifting a lot. And sometimes he's ridiculous and sometimes he's heartbreaking. And I'm sure there were a lot of days where he was just awful to be around.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. But by the same token, we all know him now as a great artist, but I'm sure that back in the day, everybody thought he was a very peculiar, bit of a jerk, I guess, more than anything else. And so, and Picasso was not necessarily a nice man either. By the time you learn about his lifestyles and what he was doing. But
I mean, it's interesting because Van Gogh really befriends a lot of his peers. He really, he befriends Seurat and Gauguin and all these guys, and they're all buddies. They just become famous in their lifetime, and there's a couple scenes in the play where Van Gogh talks about his project of trying to build what's essentially an arts colony in southern France, but is only able to get one painter to join him. And so he gripes about that for 2 or 3 scenes in various ways, or calls back to it, or what have you.
So are the tickets already on sale for this show, or
they're on sale.
So that's
at that website.
Yep. So if anybody needs to get tickets, they can go to the fatsquirrel.nola.square.site and click on whatever you need to buy, as many tickets as you need. What's the running dates for this show? When does it open, etc.? October.
We open October 8th. That's a Thursday. Nope, sorry, it's a Wednesday. Wednesday, October 8th, 9th, and 10th. And then we perform again the next Thursday, the 16th through the 18th. So Wednesday through Friday, Thursday through Saturday, 2 weeks in a row.
6 shows. And similar to Edinburgh, we're only going to have 40 seats because we're doing it at Big Couch, but we're doing it inside their classroom, which is a much smaller space than their big stage. And we're building a set in there and really trying to trap the audience in with us to go on the journey with Big Go.
So is that the room that you go into, like the Annie room, before you go into the deeper room?
It's the Fireweeds recently did Who's
Yes.
Afraid of Virginia Woolf in the same space.
Yeah.
So it's, once you come into the lobby, you go to the left instead of straight into the main stage.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
So again, I am assuming 40 seats. Not a lot of availability. People want to get their tickets. They ought to do them now.
Yeah.
Wait till the last. And again, the interesting thing that Fat Squirrel likes to do is counter program. So a lot of times shows would normally go on Friday, Saturday, Sunday up against everybody else. And as you noted, they're starting on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Is that right?
Yeah. No Saturday the first weekend. Just 6. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Okay, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So anybody who needs to go, again, we remind you that's the site right there, and I'll let that in case you missed it. I'll go ahead and I'll let it see if we can get it to. Well, I think. Okay. Oh, I know what I have to do. 1 second. Now we got it. There we go. Now it should work. We'll have.
Oh, yeah.
So we got just a few minutes left. I mean, we can call a little early if we need to. I mean, we sort of run out of pictures. So again, Justin. What is going on with you after this show is over? I mean, what else are you working on? I know at one point you were working on a Tennessee Williams piece that you'd premiered at the. Was it the? I'm trying to remember where it was. Was it at the Tennessee Williams New Orleans Literary Festival?
Yeah, I was working on a Tennessee Williams adaptation that's currently in a little bit of rights limbo with some changes at Tennessee Williams estate. So that's kind of on pause at the moment, which really is a little heartbreaking because it's a let's call it 9/10 done script.
Yeah.
We're still trying to work a few things out, and hopefully that'll come back. But that's what I was working on. I am trying to set up a few conference presentations for some work. I just actually am not writing a whole lot right now. I got promoted to be chair of the Department of Language and Literature at the University of New Orleans.
Yeah.
So I'm spending a lot of time trying to really show up for my colleagues. Because
if I may ask the intro to politics question, what's happened now that David Hoover has retired? For the first time, there's no David Hoover at the film and theater department.
Yeah.
That's been a very, very prominent department in terms of people who come out of there, and also in terms of some of the projects they've done, like with people like the NOLA project and joint productions. So who's now the head of the department there?
Well, the theater department isn't really a department anymore. It's folded into the larger School of the Arts.
Oh.
I'm not sure who is teaching acting at the moment. Obviously, we know David a lot. He's iconic in this town, and I'm not sure who is doing it. I've been very busy with my own administrative fires, and as you know, UNO had a pretty substantial budget crisis last year.
Oh yeah, I know.
While we're getting out of that,
and they're folding back into the LSU system now, as opposed to where they were before. And Drew, you might be one of the last graduates from the department, I guess, huh?
Yeah, they had. I was 22, so they graduated 23 and they graduated 24. Allegedly, no, they graduated 25 as well.
Yeah.
Did I graduate in 23?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, they've graduated 2 other classes since me. And allegedly, there's another class now as well. I'm 3 generations removed at this point, so
We don't know anyone
I
anymore.
only see the tidbits on Facebook. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's good that you came out of that group. And as I said, I've always seen really excellent productions from them. And I hope that despite the budget cutbacks that they'll continue to try to do the kind of very cutting edge theater that they've always done over there. I mean, they've done some really incredible work. And I'm sorry that, they've had that situation with the budget cutbacks, but as we all know, nobody's immune these days. PBS, Corporation for Public Broadcasting, we know that my own Channel 12, WIS TV, suffered $800,000 in cuts. WWOZ lost, I think, $400,000, and WWNO at UNO lost about $220,000.
Yeah.
So, and that money's not going to be made up, unless it's coming from the public.
Yeah.
So, and I'm now because of the theater awards with the Crest City Theater Awards, I'm having to actually endure a lot of asking for money and appealing to grant writing and things of that sort, and that's not been easy either because the pool now is a lot more expanded in terms of applicants, but in terms of the pool itself, not as big as it used to be. So there's a lot more people trying to grab what they can, and it makes for a rather, let's say, frenetic pace there. We have to kind of get in while you can. And in terms of this particular show, it ends in October, and we want everybody to know that it's only going to run 2 weekends, basically, as you mentioned, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So the dates again, October was it 8th? You said
8th.
Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
8th through the 10th, 16th through the 18th.
Yeah. So the 18th. So okay. So there you go. And I guess we're at that point right now where there's not a whole lot more to say. I mean, I hope that everybody gets a chance to go see this. Justin, I appreciate your being here. It's not often I have a playwright.
Anytime.
Not often I get a chance to see a husband and wife team. In terms of power couples in New Orleans, we've got a few of them out there who are married. They come to mind, but this may be the new one. We don't know.
Speaking of which, we've got a couple of other productions we're working on post Exhausted Pain. If we could plug those too.
Sure, go right ahead. So what do you got?
So we have these tattoos on us. I have a yes, she's an and. We're both very, very, you can't see it upside down. They're backwards.
Upside down.
But yes, and obviously the main tenet of improv. So we're very improv heavy. We're doing a sketch comedy show at Big Couch on November 14th. It's going to be called Whose Friday Night Is It Anyway? It's a mashup of SNL with Whose Line. So we started rehearsals this week for it because even though it's improv, you have to rehearse and practice. And there'll be sketches in it. It'll be like SNL, but in New Orleans. So live from New Orleans. It's Friday night. Yeah. So we're doing that one in November.
Mm-hmm. And then in December, we're staging a production / stage reading, one night only, of a play called A Case for the Existence of God, which our friend Frank brought to us and said, hey, I want to do this show. Will you guys read it with me? At the end, we were all sobbing and said, yeah, let's do it. So
who wrote that?
Oh.
Or no?
Sam Hunter.
Yeah, Sam Hunter.
Yeah.
And it won the...
I don't think a Pulitzer. It won a Drama Desk.
Drama Desk. Yeah.
Drama Desk. Okay.
So
very recently.
A two-hander. So I'm slowly making my way up.
Adding.
The next play I do will be a 3-person show.
Very nice. That's very nice. Gee, if you wait around long enough, you'll be able to go into a chorus line.
I was going to say, we'll get him to do Bowman Gilead eventually.
That's a big cast. You're right. Absolutely. So again, I want to wish everybody, break legs for this, and hope that Justin, your next endeavor. Hopefully, we'll get the chance to see the Tennessee Williams thing eventually when you make that happen. Keep your fingers crossed. And Carly and Drew, obviously, stand up is what drives you, which is great. I'm glad to see all kinds of performers, out there doing their thing. And it's great that we're back, because it wasn't that long ago, as we may remember, that we were all stuck at home watching Zoom sessions.
Yep.
Saying, when can we go back to a theater? So now that we can do it, I'm glad to see that all the theaters are open and that people are able to go back, because I would have never believed at all in my life in 2019, you would have told me that most of the theater, space would be locked up for the next year and a half. And it was touch and go there, but we managed to get through it. I'm glad that we did. So again, thank you all for being here. Just stick around for just a little bit while I say goodnight to everybody. Again, Justin Maxwell, Carly and Drew Stroud, we're going to thank everybody for being here. Again, if you want to check out Exhausted Paint, that's where you go, fatsquirrelnola.square.site, and check out getting tickets for the show there. Once again, this is NOLA Theater Talk. My name is Alan Smason, and we broadcast again to the NOLA Theater Folk Facebook group. Again, the theatercriticism.com Facebook page, as well as my own YouTube channel. And again, thank you for being here. Not sure when we're going to have our next show, because it's been so sporadic. There's a lot of shows that are on the boards right now. If you have not seen Dear Evan Hansen, the scenic design is incredible over there, done by Mark Fucci. A shout out to him. The singing is very good there. They have a live band that's very unusual for Rivertown. It really enhances their work. I also saw Outcry finishing its run, I think next weekend. 2-person play. It's called Outcry, the 2-character play with Tracy E. Collins and Kyle Dagrapont. It's finishing up its run this next weekend. Tennessee Williams at his weirdest, but also typical in some ways. And also Waitress. I have seen Waitress on Broadway. I've seen the JPA production of Waitress. And as you'll hear and probably read about later on, it was such a splendid show. It was as very good as I've ever seen the Broadway production. The characters were all fantastic. And I have to say, even the old man role of Joe was done by Wayne Gonsolin, and he knocked it out of the park. He was better than the guy on Broadway who did the original cast. So I'm going to tell you, if you get a chance to go see it, Meredith Owens is fantastic in the role of Jenna, that was originated by Jesse Mueller. And of course, Drew Grayling did Dr. Palmater, which Jake Wynn Stott is doing, if I'm not mistaken, Jake Wynn Wilson, rather. And then trying to remember who else. The other 2 girls, Whitney Mixon, of course, and Chase Kamada, are all sensational. And Scott Sauber steals the show as Ogie. So go see it. It's only one more weekend, and you need to put that on your calendar. I'm telling you, you will thank me later for seeing that. Okay. Again, Exhausted Paint coming up, Fat Squirrel production. And I want to thank everybody for being with me tonight. And again, I'll see you at the theater.